Well, good morning and welcome. This is Tampa Home Talk, and I'm your host, Katrina Madewell, hanging out with one of my favorite sidekicks here. Good morning, Leo.
Good morning. This is Leo Kane with Beryl Engineering and Inspection, and this is my favorite time of the year. It is spooky season. It is pumpkin spice latte season. It is drink liters of beer until you pass out, wake up, and drink more liters of beer season.
One day, your belly's going to hurt from all that. I'm just saying. One day.
I didn't say I participated in all that.
Oh, okay. You
I just
like
said
the smell of it.
The season. I do not like this. I do not like the smell of someone who has drank too much and then passed out in a puddle.
Oh gosh, let's not go here.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to welcome back Miss Jill Witecki with Tampa Theater. Good morning,
the same way,
Jill.
but with candy corn.
Candy corn it is. She looks amazing, doesn't she? Look how great she looks.
Looks like candy corn.
So our Facebook Live and YouTube watcher, she's so festive. Like she's got the perfect pumpkin and Halloween attire
got my voodoo
on.
pumpkin skirt on and my bright orange. My shirt matches your nails.
It does, yes. We're super bright here. You're a little. I think I like your shirt better, but looks good.
You know the best part about having Jill on the show?
Tell me.
The giveaways.
The giveaways, yeah.
The giveaways.
We have 4 tickets to A Nightmare on Franklin Street. Well, 2 4-packs.
2 4-packs.
And you guys can actually choose whatever you want to go see. We're going to talk about that here in just a minute. Right after we give you the rundown, we're going to give you some history on the Tampa Theater.
Oh, this
it's
looks
your
different.
first time ever listening in. You've missed some stuff, Leo, in the last couple weeks. So let's chat about the numbers. Let's go into that, okay?
Yeah, but I don't recognize the numbers. It's no longer a nice little bar chart.
Yeah, they changed their whole dashboard.
It looks like the dashboard's set up for people on their cell phones now.
They changed their whole dashboard.
Yeah.
So the what we look at every week is a little different. It changed probably 3 weeks ago, but I don't think you've seen it in that period of time. So
I have not.
All right. So the number of new listings coming in at 787. That's going up.
It's going up.
A little bit.
Going
every
up a
single
little
week.
bit. Yeah, no, I like that. The number of listings is going up. That's actually a turn. So when I thought we were circling this big toilet that someone flushed, and we were slowly circling towards the drain of becoming a balanced market, looks like we're kind of like we jumped back up a ring.
Look at this, though. So 787 new listings, 7 days, 3 counties, single-family homes. Price decreases, 1,082.
People are still chasing the market.
People are not aware what's happening in the
They're
market.
just still chasing the market.
And the number of pendings coming in at a sharp 700 and solds 622.
So this is actually this is a good number, right? This is a week that we haven't seen in a while. Where new listings is.
This has been solid for the last 3 weeks.
Oh, with the new listings
This trend,
above.
yep.
Oh, so we're improving. We're improving.
We're moving towards a balanced market.
Yeah, balanced market.
Yeah, it's been like this for 3 weeks.
Okay.
So it's going to continue on. We'll see. And we're seeing it too in the market. I almost every listing I have right now, the first buyer is usually not making it. That, like, for whatever reason, they flake out, they cancel for silly little things. You know, we're in a higher interest rate environment. People want, they're not taking what they were a year or 2 ago. Remember, we were joking around saying they were selling all the houses with all the defects because they could move them in any market. That's not happening.
So these zombie houses are staying on the market longer?
There's no zombie houses. They want move-in ready, pristine, ready to rock. And the builders are offering some really good incentives. Some of them have rates way lower than you can get, and then they're paying all or most of the closing costs. So the builders are going to continue to be competitive. So, in your resale environment, you're competing with them too. So you have to keep that in mind.
Yeah, I mean, if you can buy a brand new home that's poorly built, fastly, with no closing costs versus a home that's been around for 3 to 5 years that you already have all the kinks worked out and it wasn't built in a rush.
Says the structural engineer, but most people are looking for brand new.
So this was interesting. We had and I'm not going to mention any properties or builders.
Yes, please don't.
We had a string of like inspections in a certain subdivision where the concrete slab was cracking during the actual construction before they put the flooring down. Turns out that normally when you pour your concrete, you want your strength to be somewhere between 3,000 and 4,000 PSI, which means that it's going to be strong, it's going to withstand resettlement. If there wasn't a lot of compaction in the soil, then you're actually, your shell is able to withstand that. Turns out these plans said 2,500 PSI.
Compared to what?
Compared to 3,000 to 4,000.
That's a big difference.
That is a big difference. So we're seeing a lot of slab cracking, and the builder's saying, well, it's built to spec, which is true. It was built to spec. Apparently, it meets Florida building code, but there's a reason why builders used to do between 3,000 and 4,000. So now that they're at the 2,500, these slabs are starting to crack. They're going to put flooring down. If they don't put their flooring down in excellent workmanship, the flooring is going to start to crack and separate from the flooring. And it's just amazing. We're seeing this now during the actual construction phase, but it goes again with the builders are putting up homes as fast as they possibly can, and they're cutting corners wherever they can.
Yeah.
Now they found ways to cut corners in the design phase.
So we're not on the other side of the market where, builders would build this and then boom, they have all this built-in equity because the prices are going quick and they paid X dollars to build it. We're going to see the other side of that.
They're rushing even more so. So the builders used to
gonna lose their
rush and
shirt.
do bad work because they were trying to take advantage of the market while it's hot. Now they're rushing even faster, doing even worse work because just like in 06 to 08, they're trying to get these houses moved before they're hitting themselves with a price decrease. You have to think, if a builder has to throw in closing costs and a builder has to throw in all these extra incentives that they didn't have to do 9 months ago.
Plus, let's not forget about the rate. Like ones that are offering these rates in the 5s, they purchased bulk money, which means they had to have a lot of capital to do that and sit on that.
So you have to think, if these builders are giving you something, that means they're taking away from themselves. Anything like it's a shell game. They have different buckets of money, and at the end of the day, the 3 buckets or 4 buckets combine, and what they didn't give you is profit. So if they're offering you these incentives they weren't 6 months ago, closing costs, lower interest rates, all these other specials, extra upgrade packages. If they're doing that, they're taking away profits. So they're still continuing to rush. So now we're in a labor shortage. We still have a slight material shortage. And now we have plans that have corners cut. It's scary environment out there if you're buying new construction. And that's why I urge you to take advantage of the 3 to 5 year home. If you want a new home, look for one that's 3 to 5 years.
And then I guess from an insurance perspective, they're all right because it's still newer building codes.
No, it's still all the new building codes. And the new building code goes into effect 12/31/2023 for the 2023 building code. So we have a new building code right around the corner, which is scary.
What are some of the changes in that? Do you know?
Don't know off the top of my head.
Not yet?
We
Okay.
should have a show dedicated entirely to
We
the
definitely
changes in
should.
building code. We'll lose all 50,000 of our listeners.
I don't know. It'll appeal to some people.
I'll talk about the changes in the building code, how it's getting stricter, how homes are getting safer, how homes are getting more wind resistant and uplift resistant if they're built correctly. And we're just not seeing the homes built correctly in the field right now.
Yeah, and I mean, the weather dynamic changes everything as well. Just the weather, the environment that we have with storms and stuff changes how we have to build.
Speaking of which, I did hear that now is a great time to buy a boat.
Is it?
It has a sale.
Probably does, literally. Aside from that sale, probably literally has a sale. Because boats were going up in value too during COVID.
Yes, but no, she got it. It was my dad's
I got
joke of the week.
it. I got the joke.
Yes.
But they literally probably are on sale, whichever one you're looking for.
So back to the market watch. New listings are on the rise compared to pendings and solds. We're approaching more of a balanced market. We're 3.5 months inventory at this point?
That's probably close. I haven't calculated the absorption rate in a while, but that's probably darn close.
Yeah. 6 months is that magic number.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a Nostradamus predicting the end of the world 20 years ago. That didn't happen.
But I did predict this. If you remember, we talked about this last year, early this year, first quarter. I said by the end of the year, fourth quarter is when I predict we'll start to see a shift in the market.
We saw it. We actually saw it at Labor Day.
Yeah, but it was so minor. But yeah, still,
No, we
fourth quarter, we're really going to see it, like what we're seeing in the numbers now. That's what I'm talking about.
We need this. We need a little bit of cushion there. We need a slowdown of these new constructions. We need these builders to build their homes correctly.
The other thing, too, the reason why the feds keep hiking the rates, and they had another rate hike like a couple weeks ago, but the unemployment numbers are still very, very strong. And so I try to pay attention to all those little things when we see people losing their job or relocating or big corporations laying a lot of people off, because that's a sign that the economy and the market's starting to change. So once that happens a little bit, I hate to say once people lose their job, the feds will either stop hiking the rates or reduce them a little, but that's sort of the way it goes.
Well, I mean, if the whole point of raising the rate is to curb spending, and they're waiting for people to lose their jobs to curb spending, then raising the rate isn't doing what they want to do.
They did it too late. It probably would have been effective if they started earlier, but I know what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean, they're unrelated. So the whole purpose of unemployment curbs spending, and raising the rate curbs spending. And if you're using one to justify the other, then you're not doing it correctly. So
It still is. I mean, if you talk to, for example, boat dealers, car,
people who
car
are unemployed
dealers,
shouldn't be buying cars, shouldn't be buying boats.
I don't think they can. I don't think they can. I think you still have to qualify. Most of the lenders are still, you have to qualify to finance something.
Yeah, I mean, you just need to qualify, and to qualify, you need a job.
Yeah. Well, it's back to what I've said too. We're going to see more multi-gen housing, just with inflation as high as it is and the housing costs so high. We'll see a little bit of a dip. We'll see, how this shakes out. But yeah, I think you're pretty close to that 3.5 month absorption rate. I'll have to take a new peek at that and we'll look at it. But I think it's about right.
And is multi-gen housing a bad thing? I mean, up until the 20th century, that was the way of the world for thousands of years.
That's because their countries were more established and older than ours. So we're just now experiencing what they did several hundreds of years ago.
Yeah,
Makes sense?
It's either multi-gen housing or much smaller housing, because the time frame of two people living in a 5,000 square foot house, that's just excessive.
Is it now?
It is.
Yeah, it's I don't know. We're going to see some interesting things with these crazy record low interest rates that we've had for many, many years now. Going into this shifting market, it'll be interesting to see how it all settles. You were talking about getting people to curb spending. If we could just get the government to do that too, we would be all right.
Well, I mean, if we go back to COVID, to get us through COVID, the government just threw money at the economy, just blanket threw money, lots of money at the economy, which helped. It helped keep a lot of businesses open that would have gone out of business without it. But along those same lines, it put a lot of businesses open that should have gone out of business.
Yeah.
That if COVID didn't happen and there was no bailout, those businesses wouldn't have survived 2020. And it gave them an extra 1.5 2 years of life to just slowly decay.
I think a little bit less government intervention is better, right? Like, yes, some businesses would have failed, but you sort of need that, right? That's a normal flow of any market or economy. You have the ebb and flow of businesses, and that should happen naturally, regardless of what's going on in the environment, without the government intervention of just pushing money into it. You know what I'm saying? I get what they were trying to do, but you're going to have pandemics. You're going to have seasons where people spend less. You're going to have different things like that in different markets, and it should run its course naturally.
We're not a political show, so I won't say that if the government actually responded accurately to COVID and instead just threw money at the problem, we would have had a different outcome.
Yeah, we would have. But what do you think that, like, if you were making the rules, what would you do?
Oh, there's not enough time in the segment to explore
Well, just
that.
quickly, like 3 years ago, what would you have done differently?
It's a difficult question because we're going to look at it from today's lens and what we could have done differently. I mean, at the time, with the inefficiencies of government, throwing bailout money out as fast as possible through the SBA probably was the best course of action when you take all that into account. Shutting down entire cities or states for a year and a half was not an option. I mean, Florida was very successful during COVID, and it's because they stayed open.
Aside from that, though, yeah, I mean, and I think that was the answer, right? If more people had done that, give people the option whether to go out or not.
Yeah.
Right? It's going to work itself out.
Yeah, it was scary times, and I'm not a doctor, and I'm not a political scientist. But I can say 813-377-2775.
Is the real estate engineer perspective.
813-377-2775. When we come back, this whole segment was meant to scare you, because when we come back, we're going to talk about all the scary stuff happening in downtown Tampa next to the gin joint at a little place called the Tampa Theater. And it's going to be spooky and scary, and don't go anywhere.
Jill Witecki's in the house. Stick around.
Welcome home. This is Leo Kane with Beryl Engineering and Inspection, bringing in all the happenings that could be happening to happen about the happenings at the Tampa Theater over the course of the next 2 weeks. Now, the Tampa Theater itself is a very spooky place if you come to realize that. It is a haunted location. In fact, it is so haunted, they do their own ghost tours. And let's have Jill explain that a little bit.
Yeah, talk about, let's feed into the history. We've had it before, but it's been a minute since we've had you on the air, and we may have some new listeners, new platform. We're now Podcast Radio US.
Excellent.
So Tampa Home Talk airs on this station and instead of Money Talk 1010, but we're still here.
Well, Tampa Theater has been right in the heart of downtown Tampa for 97 years. We just celebrated our 97th birthday on the 15th.
Gosh, we're going to have to do something big when you guys are 100.
Oh, trust me, we are planning the party of the century, literally, in 3 years. And
Maybe we'll do a live broadcast there when they're 100.
They're going to do a Great Gatsby theme.
I don't know
Opulence,
about
champagne
that.
towers.
But we are having...
When is your birthday? When are you guys 100?
October 15th, 2026.
All right, okay.
That's good. We can plan for that.
Okay, the history. I was excited about you being 100.
Well, the history and what we're doing for the 100th kind of tied together really nicely because 97 years ago, we opened as a silent movie palace. For the first 2+ years that we were open, we were playing silent films with a 17-piece orchestra and a Mighty Wurlitzer Theater organ that were accompanying those films. So if you were coming for a night out, an afternoon out in downtown Tampa to this beautiful movie palace, you were coming to Tampa Theater. And so now 100 years later, we are still basically true to that original programming. Most of our programs at Tampa Theater are still films. But now we have the opportunity to do some live programming as well. So if you look at our website, tampatheater.org, we have all kinds of live shows coming up as well, most of them comedy. We have this little tiny stage. Well, because our stage is built over what used to be that orchestra pit where those 17 musicians would sit. So it doesn't give us enough room to do, Broadway, but that's fine. The Strass Center is a couple of blocks away and they do a great job with that.
I tell you the history and I have to just comment on this really quick because I hadn't been there until you invited me. Remember we went with Lee, it was me, my husband, Leo, his wife, and a couple other friends.
Can't believe how long ago that's been now.
It has been a while, but that was my first trip there and inside taking it all in. What a beautiful place. Yeah, you can go to the Strass, but the environment at Tampa Theater is amazing.
It is absolutely a stunning building because it was built with Paramount Studios money. Back in the 20s, it was the movie studios that were building the theaters. And so, of course, they were flush with cash and they were competing. They each wanted to make the best movies, but they wanted to show them in the most beautiful, most majestic movie palaces.
No wonder it's so beautiful.
Exactly.
It says you said movie palace and not movie theater.
That's right.
Movie palace.
It is definitely
I like
a movie
that.
palace.
It is. Well, and that is a distinct style of architecture. So in the 19 teens and 20s, you had regular movie theaters, but movie palaces took them to that next level.
Got it.
These were the buildings that, again, the studios were paying for. They were trying to draw those audiences in and just create an entire experience. And now 97 years later, that's still what we do best. You can watch a movie on your couch. You can go to a Cineplex. Or you can come to a place that is going to completely immerse you in this amazing experience from the moment you walk in the door.
And they have the best prices on popcorn compared to any AMC or Regal Theater out there.
It's just not even a comparison.
It's better popcorn,
It is much better
I
popcorn.
think I noticed that as well. I did, yeah.
Yeah, prices are better. Alcohol's more wider selection. Snacks are great. Plus, you're also downtown Tampa.
Yeah.
There's so much you leave most movie theaters, you're either, if you're lucky, you're in a mall. If you're unlucky, you're in a strip mall, and you have to walk 1/4 mile to get to the nearest fast food chain. But when you leave the Tampa Theater, you're just surrounded by the nightlife. You can make an evening of it before. You go to the Tampa Theater, then you make an evening of it after. It's the whole package.
We had a good time the evening that we went out. It was a very good night. So that's a cool little fun fact that the Hollywood basically competitors sort of built that.
Absolutely. We were part of the studio system. And so now, 97 years later, as we head towards our 100th, our goal is to bring Tampa Theater back to what it was in 2026.
Silent films with orchestra.
Tonight. Come on down tonight. We are playing a silent film as part of our Nightmare on Franklin
So
Street
what's going on
series.
tonight? What's being played tonight?
We have a film called
Carnival?
The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari. So that is a film that came out in 1920. It is a spooky film about this doctor and, his what he might be doing to the people around him. And it was a brilliant movie at the time, and now they have created a 4K restorations of it. So it's
Wow.
a beautiful new print. And we still have our original Mighty Wurlitzer theater organ. So that organ is going to be in full display this evening. Our artist in residence, Stephen Ball, is going to be there. And that's the neat thing about some of these old silent films, is that they're still prints of the film that exist, but the scores that were written for them 100 years ago don't exist anymore. So that's why we're so lucky to have Stephen Ball. He's one of the few people in the country that still has dedicated his life to this art form. And so he's written an original score. And so what you're going to hear tonight is original music accompanying this film.
What time is the film?
7:00.
So you have to, Tampa Theater has to actually hire organists, right? To play.
Yes, we've been working with Stephen for more than a decade, and he's kind of bounced around the country a little bit, and we're always happy to fly him in from wherever he is, but we're very lucky now that he's actually decided to make Florida home. So he's able to drive down whenever we want to do one of these silent movies, and it means that we get to do them more often.
I love it. So A Nightmare on Franklin Street is your series, which kicked off Friday the 13th, and it's going to the 31st.
Well, of course. So we kicked off Friday the 13th with Friday the 13th.
Of course.
We're going to run through Halloween and then show
Halloween?
Exactly. So
Excellent.
you guys
I'm
could
good
be
at this
movie
game.
programmers.
That's awesome.
It's really easy. But in between there, we are finding every possible way to celebrate Halloween. So if you're into the bloody, gory, slasher type thing, we're going to be showing movies like Saw, which is celebrating a 10th anniversary coming up here. Train to Busan, we were talking about that during the
Train to
commercial
Busan.
break.
So Train to Busan, for those that do not know, it's a 2016.
That would be me, because I'm never watching it. So you got to explain it to all the people like me listening.
It's one of those 2016 Korean action movies that happens to have zombies, that the zombie outbreak happens, and then there's people that run onto a train to flee, and then the awesome epicness ensues.
All heck breaks loose.
Karate,
like
kung fu, the great things you would expect from a Korean action movie with fast-running zombies. It's one of my favorite modern-day zombie movies.
Well, so if that's your Halloween speed, then we've got that. If you prefer the more creepy, spooky, gothic, we have those ghost tours that you were talking about. We are one of the most haunted buildings in Tampa, and we're happy to show that off.
Which we got to go do with you guys. That was so cool.
Exactly.
It was fun.
And we also have an amazing live show coming up this Sunday afternoon with a group out of Orlando called Phantasmagoria, which is a very, very old word that just means ghost show. Nice. And that's what they do. They are a gothic, a little bit steampunk, a little bit Victorian troupe.
So do you have people that dress up like that and come for the show?
This is what they do for a living.
And the audience will dress up. I've seen
that's
this troupe in Dallas before. They are phenomenal.
They are incredible.
A little bit of freak show.
And they take those old stories, the Edgar Allan Poe, the Mary Shelleys, classic literature, and bring it to life on stage. So you've got storytelling and poetry and singing and dance and puppetry and projections. It is a gorgeous show, whether you're celebrating Halloween or you've just got that, high schooler in your life that's struggling to connect with classic literature. Do it this way. And it does it in a whole different light, really, really creates that connection. But if you've got younger kids, you're trying to figure out what to do for Halloween with the younger kids, we've got our Mummy and Me screenings.
Aww.
So that's where the grown-ups pay See, I had to get my own bad Halloween pun in there somewhere.
That was so good.
Grown-ups pay $10. Kids 12 and under are free. And we've got 2 of those screenings tomorrow. We're showing Disney's Coco. And we're showing
that's
it
a great movie.
Once in English, and then we're showing it once in Spanish.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
For those that don't know, Coco is a movie that takes place during the Day of the Dead. It's actually a really good feel-good movie with some really depressing middle moments, as I would expect from a Disney film. Great references to Mexican heritage and culture, and a unique take on what the Day of the Dead really is about. So I highly recommend, if you haven't seen Coco, 2017 movie. This is a highlight back, I say, the golden age, the heyday of when Disney was putting out really quality summer flicks.
I haven't seen Coco. I should add that to my list.
You definitely add Coco to your list.
Beautiful film. Bring Kleenex.
All right, 813-377-2775. That's our off-air number. And if you would like a 4-pack of tickets to Tampa Theater, just text Tampa Theater and you get to choose from anything that's open, right?
Any of the movies we just talked about, any of the films for the rest of the season.
All right, 813-377-2775. If you just call or text either Jill or Tampa Theater, we'll make sure you get a 4-pack. First one that texts in, and then we'll give another one away probably towards the bottom of the next segment. This is Tampa Home Talk. Our off-air number is 813-377-2775. 813-377-2775. Stick around.
Welcome home. This is Leo Kane with Beryl Engineering and Inspection, going through the Tampa Theater's next 2 weeks of lineup of events. This is exciting stuff. I'm seeing some stuff here I don't even recognize. So, Jill, what is Slaughterhouse? I'm hoping it's a B-rated horror movie starring a sloth as the killer.
That is exactly what it is.
That sounds awesome.
Like I said, there's so many ways to celebrate Halloween, and one is those over-the-top, ridiculous, campy movies. And Slaughterhouse fits all of those categories. It's a brand new movie. It's coming out right now, so it is first run. And if you've been wondering where you could see it on the big screen, the answer is Tampa Theater. So it's a sloth. And the sloth is at college and gets adopted by a sorority house.
I was going to say, it better have a sorority jersey on.
Of course, and then a killing rampage. So if you've ever actually been around a real sloth, the stories are true. They're incredibly slow. So I can't wait to see how it is that one could get caught by a sloth in the first place.
Yeah, because in the old zombie movies, if you take into consideration their numbers, they moved really slow, but their numbers.
There were a lot of them.
Yes, but there's only going to be one sloth until the end of the movie, of course, where they're going to show you the babies that it has.
Maybe so.
That's how all of these movies
that could
end.
Be.
It has to.
And the thing is, it's a normal size sloth. It's not even like a giant sloth that could take over your house. It's one normal size sloth.
That's what I like, because like you look at it the same day. This is on 10/29. We look at Night of the Lepus, 1972 film. That's back in the era of the 70s, where scarier just meant bigger.
That's exactly what this movie is. They took regular rabbits and shot them with enough forced perspective. I mean, shot them with film, not shot them, and created a movie that has enormous bunnies taking over the town. And it's often regarded, I mean, it's right up there with Plan 9 from Outer Space.
One of the worst movies.
One of the worst movies ever created.
I just love those back in the 70s. They discovered perspective, and they could make huge spiders, huge ants, huge everything. That was the 70s. The campy horror movies, low budget, was just huge. So we got Night of the Lepus, but before that we got Slaughterhouse on the 29th. But more importantly,
Saturday night.
Tomorrow night, we have not one, but two showings of one of the best movies of all time. This is probably one of the highest grossing movies of all time. It is the longest theater run of any movie of all time. And we are talking about the one, the only Tim Curry at his finest in the Rocky Horror Picture Show.
I wonder why that show, I mean, yes, it's fun, but I wonder how,
why that one?
Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know. You're right that it is Tim Curry at the top of his game. It's Susan Sarandon who likes to pretend it never happened.
Yes.
The music is absolutely infectious. The plot itself is insane. It's ridiculous.
On the bad way. It's insane in a bad way. It crossed all these weird lines that should never have been crossed, that people would only talk about in private, and it just put it on display.
And think about at the time it came out.
In the 70s.
And now, all these years later, people still come out in droves every single weekend to theaters across the country to dress like the characters, to sing the songs, to shout things back at the screen, to throw things in the theater. And listen, we don't usually let people throw things at Tampa Theater, but we understand that that's part of the Rocky Horror experience. So we do allow things like cards and toast and confetti. We just ask everybody to keep the wet and slimy stuff at home. So no water guns, no hot dogs.
Yeah.
Kind of hard to get out of the historic carpet. But no, and the Rocky Horror Picture Show. So here's the thing. You're a fan, so you know what I'm talking about. Mm-hmm. Way back in the day when I was much younger and thinner, I was a Janet in a floor cast.
I can see that.
And I spent every weekend doing that. So all these years later, we still welcome the live cast with much younger people than me to be up there acting out the movie on the stage in front of the screen. But I also understand that there are a lot of Rocky fans of a certain age who aren't quite game for staying up until midnight anymore. So that's why we do two screenings. We do one at 7:00 for everybody who wants to get home at a reasonable hour, and then we do the later one at 11. And
which it was always late.
Absolutely.
Normally. Yeah.
The 7 o'clock one is almost sold out.
Is it? I want to come to that next year.
Oh,
let's
it's a
make a
blast.
plan, Leo. We're going to go to that next year. Yeah.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I mean, if you've never experienced the Rocky Horror Picture Show and you show up, it's just it's.
Oh, you're going to be shocked.
It's amazing because it's a movie and it's a play and there's audience participation and you don't know what's going on
and it's crazy.
And it's crazy.
Fun.
So usually if there's a 7 o'clock showing and the 11 o'clock showing, you want to go to the later showing because it tends to be a little saucier.
A little bit. And, you know, like you said, if you don't know what you're in for, go to our website, tampatheater.org/nightmare. We actually have a link to one of the audience participation scripts, so you can kind of study up before you come.
It might be one of the ones that's worth taking a nap before you go. I'm just saying.
Exactly. And maybe having a cocktail as well.
Or
Also,
two.
you want to show up early because if the Tampa Theater does it right, they do a pre-show. They start with the audience participation before the show even gets rolling.
About an hour before showtime.
They will pull
Man,
people
I'm
up
so
on stage
upset I
and
didn't
embarrass
go.
people. They will pull people up on stage to embarrass them. It's just phenomenal. Rocky Horror probably is one of the best. It's one of the best theater experiences you can have in your lifetime.
And we do it every year.
You definitely should go. If you've never done it or been there, go. You're in for a treat.
And the 4
So it
tickets
sells
we're
out,
giving away.
right?
Yes,
Doesn't
it
it sell?
does sell out,
Okay.
but the tickets we're giving away today are valid for that as well.
Oh, okay. 813.
377-2775 if you want this last 4-pack of tickets to the Rocky Horror Picture Show or any of these other events, Rocky Horror Picture Show. 813-377-2775. I'm really if I didn't already have plans that afternoon, I would totally be all over
Me
Slaughterhouse.
too. Well, I would come for the picture show, Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Yeah, Rocky Horror Picture Show is you're going to be in Tennessee, but yes.
Yeah.
You need next year. Mark it
year.
on your calendar now for next year, Kat.
Next year, it got moved, because my older son is getting married in January. So there is a bridal shower.
Wait, you
It's
have
a
an
little-
older son?
Yeah, he's 29.
What?
Yeah.
How did I not know this?
He lives in Orlando.
Oh.
Very cool.
He didn't even show up to your 10-year anniversary party.
He was actually in Tennessee. He bought a little place there for an Airbnb, and he's got a funky schedule because he's a cop.
Wait,
so-
a small little place in the middle of backwoods Tennessee? Which movie are we talking
I was
about?
going to
which
say.
movie are we talking
Ooh, I
about on
don't
this
know.
list?
I'm not the one to quiz on movies. Which one is it?
I don't know that we have a Backwoods of Tennessee movie this year. We had Camp in the Middle of the Woods on Friday the 13th.
Yeah, you also have Saturday the 14th, which is a comedy.
Jeffrey Tambor, probably at the top of his game as well.
Yeah, it's a great comedy. So there's a good mix here. And then classics like The Shining.
Shining, I did see.
I want to talk a little bit about Pulgasari. So that's a movie we're showing on October 28th. And once again, if your flavor of Halloween is big monster movies, Pulgasari, that's coming out of Korea. And it was made during a time when the leader, Kim Jong-il, was imprisoning filmmakers to have them make movies for the country. And they were popular culture films, but also, of course, thinly veiled propaganda. Well, the filmmaker that made Pulgasari was so impressive. The movie was so impressive that he was allowed to do a world tour of the movie and was allowed to travel around with the movie talking about it. And of course, Kim saw this as his entree into the world to be seen as legitimate because they were making this wonderful film. Well, when the filmmaker and his wife came to the United States to premiere the film, they escaped. And so that film was his opportunity to escape the regime and then tell his story. So
That's cool.
It's such an odd film. It's definitely in that kind of Godzilla mind frame. But when you know the story behind the film, and we go into more detail on our website, it really is impressive to know why he was doing what he was doing when he made it.
And I saw the Purge was on your list too. Is that the original?
That is the
Purge?
original Purge from 2013. And again, you guys kind of hinted at it in the earlier segments. We're in a weird time right now. And it just seemed like a really interesting, especially on the same day with Pulgasari, to kind of talk about government influence in films.
Isn't it? I don't watch a lot of scary films. I don't watch a lot of movies or TV at all. But I have seen The Purges. It's like one of those ones my family likes to watch. I don't know.
It's one of the ones I haven't seen. I mean, I know
get-
the premise behind it. I know it has a TV show and a series and all
You
this
should
stuff.
watch it. I've seen a movie. You haven't? I cannot believe it.
Yeah, you've seen a movie I haven't, which is pretty impressive.
Scary time.
Yeah, but everyone other than these on the list, everyone other than that I have seen except for Megan. never saw Megan.
Oh, with the Barbie movie coming out this year, we figured we had to show the other
Barbie
doll
movie, yes.
So I'm looking at this whole list of movies.
Which ones have you seen?
I've only seen 2.
Okay.
Out of the whole list.
The Purge?
I told you The
Purge?
Purge was one of them. Want to guess which one the other one was?
Interview with a Vampire.
Nope.
Oh, see, that would have been my guess,
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
Maybe The Shining.
The Shining.
Okay, yep.
That's it. Out of all the list of movies.
Yeah, those were my other 2. If I had 2 guesses, I would have done Interview and Shining for the ones you've seen.
Well, and we're going to have some fun after The Shining on the 23rd because we have a film talk afterwards.
So what is a film talk?
Film talk is when we get an expert from the community, either in the subject matter or in film itself, to come do a free talk after the movie. So you come see the movie, and if that's all you wanted, you're done. Go home, have a great evening. But if you're a geek like me and you like to talk about the movie and you want to dissect it and you want to geek out over all the details, then you sit around after the movie, and we've got a film lecturer from the Ringling College coming in. His name's Hector Sotomayor, and he's coming in after The Shining to talk about The Shining and talk about all of the conspiracy theories that grew up around The Shining and all the people that read a whole bunch of meaning into some of the symbology in The Shining. And so we're going to take some time after the movie to talk about
That's cool. Was that filmed here locally or
The Shining?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
No. It's Overlook Hotel. It's in Colorado.
So there's a hotel in, where was it? St. Pete, somewhere on the other side of the bridge that has that same type of wallpaper. Remind me of Shiny. I can't think of where it is.
Back to what you were saying, Jill. I've been to when you guys have done those before, where you showed the movie. There was one about the Florida Wildlife Corridor earlier this year, and then afterwards you had a panel of experts to talk about the movie.
I like
its
that
impacts.
stuff. But I like art, so there's a lot of that goes on when you go to art shows. I like that.
Yeah, I like.
So did you go to those?
Yeah, went to that one, and then I was sitting on the bench, and the bench got a little too comfortable, and the speak got a little too technical, and I kind of missed about 15 minutes of it, and then came back to, and then I learned a lot more.
What? Did you say it got too technical for you?
Got too technical for me after the speak. 'Cause, I mean, this one in particular, you had really, really, really established and esteemed scientists and community pillars on that, talking about how wildlife moves through the state of Florida.
And you weren't super impressed by
I was
that?
very impressed. But
Okay.
the benches, they see, you have to understand the Tampa
really
Theater
comfy.
about 2 or 3 years ago completely redid all the seats. And they made them super comfortable.
Were we there before or after the seat transition? I don't remember.
You may have been there after the seats, but I'll tell you, those red seats, if you haven't been to Tampa Theater in a couple of years and you remember the red seats, those were awful. They
Yeah.
were put in 1976.
feel
They've
like
been
they
there
were.
ever since. And they weren't at all authentic to what Tampa Theater looked like. So when we reseated the building in 2017-18, we replaced with modern, more comfortable, bigger memory foam. But otherwise, they are replicas of what was there in 1926.
That's pretty cool.
That is always our hope, is that we can bring it back to its original look.
With a modern spin. Right? With a
And in
modern
memory
time for
flair.
the
foam.
100th, we're going to restore everything else.
I love it. I love it, love it, love it. All right. Well, really quick, you've got some other stuff coming up in November too, right? So you have, what's this Ancient Aliens Live? Can we talk about that when we come back?
Absolutely.
Because I saw that on your website and I was like, I got to ask her about that. I've seen that guy. My husband has that show on. He watches that. I don't watch TV, so I'll catch pieces of stuff when I'm moving in and around. And when we come back, we'll talk about some listings as well. Leo
love
loves
the
to
listings.
highlight the listings.
I love my listings.
813-377-2775. If you want more information on any of these listings, open house information, or any of the other properties we have coming up, just call or text, and may or may not have the other 4-pack left. So don't forget, if you want to go to Tampa Theater, it's on Tampa Home Talk and them. 813-377-2775.
Thank you for tuning in. This is Leo Kane with Beryl Engineering and Inspection, welcoming you home. And I've got 4 juicy listings in my hands.
It's a Tampa Home Talk.
It-
We're Tampa Home Talk.
Yes, we are at Tampa Home Talk, but Katrina has one question she wants to ask, because bombarding
I do,
our listeners with October's happenings at the Tampa Theater was not enough. She's not content to just bombard you guys with October.
Well, you can go on the website, see what all is on there. Of course, we have tickets. Thank you for the 4
course.
4 packs of tickets. And I saw when I was perusing your website that you had Ancient Aliens Live. What is that?
So if you're familiar with the show on the History Channel, Ancient Aliens, you know the crew of guys on there
Yes.
who do all this research and come up with all these theories. Well, they have a touring stage show, and they're coming to Tampa Theater on November 18th to basically perform the show, just what you see on TV, but live on stage. Now,
So do they record any of that and like broadcast it later?
this
or
one
no?
isn't. Some of them do. This one is not. But I will say this show sold out almost immediately
Did
when we
it?
put it on sale. So I would love to talk about it, but there's no tickets left for it.
It's worth mentioning, right? Because you probably get some of these things throughout the year that sell quickly.
Well, and that's what's interesting. As I mentioned earlier, our stage is so small, so we can't do big live musicals. But what we can do, so for example, on November 16th, Welcome to Night Vale. If you like spooky things, you like the Welcome to Night Vale podcast, the podcast is coming to do a live performance on the 16th. The very next night, we've got a comedian, Hannah Berner. She's going to come. The night after that is Ancient Aliens. And then at the end of the month on the 30th, we've got the Fab Four coming, which is this amazing Beatles cover band.
Ooh.
So it's truly a little bit of everything. Yes, October is a crazy time of year with all of the nightmare events, but throughout the year, we open our doors more than 700 times a year.
Wow.
So there's always something going on at Tampa Theater.
When does Jill get to sleep?
November, maybe?
Okay.
I don't know. I've got 2 little kids at home.
And then you guys do a bunch of stuff for the holidays too, right?
Oh,
Like
at
Christmas,
the-
you guys do a ton.
Yes, at the very end of November. In fact, the Sunday after Thanksgiving, we always kick off our Holiday Classics series. Every Sunday afternoon at 3 o'clock, we show those favorite movies. We always kick it off with A Miracle on 34th Street, because, of course, that movie rings in the holiday season. And I have a little elf whispering in my ear that we may have the big man from the North Pole himself there for photos in the lobby before the film.
You know, I probably, out of the whole list of your holiday movies, I might have seen 2. I'm going to have to go to Tampa Theater to see a new one I haven't
gracious.
seen.
Just start coming every Friday night. We will
Yes.
show you what you need to
Okay.
see. You'll be a movie expert.
Yeah, pretty much. You need to start with White Christmas and Miracle on
got it.
34th.
I still
We've
haven't seen
got
it.
it.
We talked about it last
It's
Talk
a
about it
Wonderful
every-
Life.
It's a Wonderful Life.
I haven't seen any of them.
Oh my gosh. We can fix you.
Yes, I'll call you, Jill. We're going to have to plan it. I'll put it on my calendar. It will happen.
Well, 2025, we're doing Rocky Horror, right?
Yes. Wait, 25.
24.
24.
It's only 23 years.
And- years ahead.
No, 25 and 24. You'll love it so much, trust me.
Okay, maybe. We'll plan for 24. Let's go there.
Okay, we'll do 24, and then when you love it, we'll do 25.
Which, by the way, that will sell out. It's not sold out yet, right? And it will
It is
soon?
not. The early show, I think we've only got about 50 tickets left
So
for
you
it.
better come get
The
your
late
tickets
show,
here
we've
and
got
swap
some more.
them to
Yes,
get them.
absolutely.
All right. We got 4 listings we're going to
We do.
highlight today. Let's give it our offer number really quick in case you want some information on these.
813-377-2775. That's 813-377-2775.
No, you just messed it up. That's callable and textable, by the way. You just messed up the number.
813-377-2775. What
There
did
you
I
go.
say?
I was not right the last time.
That's why I
The
always
first
look
time
at
it
it.
was, the second time was.
That's
the
why I
third time it
always
was.
look at it. So
I know you. I really think you're being goofy, but I don't think you are.
No,
'cause
I
you
just
literally rechecked the number.
So right now we're about to do the Beryl Project Engineering sponsored announcement of the Katrina Madewell listings.
For
Okay.
Keller Williams.
For Keller Williams. And we have 4 of them this week. We have this beautiful one. If you're looking for something in South Tampa,
That's a great house.
4004 West Land Avenue. This one's just on the market. 400,000. It's a 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom. It is in 33616. So we are in the southest of South Tampa.
That one's got a pool.
Got a pool for
Great-
400.
Yes, great backyard. It's
Great
minutes
backyard.
from the base. Not my homeowner, but one of the homeowners before actually took out one of the bedrooms and made it a huge 2-bedroom. So the 1 bedroom is huge. That could be converted back for a 3-bedroom if you wanted it. But it's an enormous bedroom. So 2 bedrooms with a pool, huge yard, big lanai,
Right
screen
near the
porch,
base.
Minutes from the base.
Minutes from the base.
So
If
if
you're
you
a
got a
base
McDill
person,
family or someone
yeah.
looking for that, this is a great property.
Yep. Then we're going to go a little bit north. We're going to go to 24248 Painter Drive in Land O'Lakes, Florida.
That's in Twin Lakes.
This is a 1993 build, 425,000. It is 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, nice low profile.
Also with a pool.
Also with a pool, private pool, Low-profile house, very wind-resistant. Got a beautiful driveway that leads into a spacious garage.
This one has a great yard too. Really, really big front yard, smaller backyard, but just a fantastic neighborhood. Really quiet, tucked back, close to everything. The main entrance is right off of 54, so it's so close to everything.
And as we're rounding the bay, we're going to go up to Trinity, where we have 1708 African Violet Court. This one is a 2004, which is about a 20-year-old home. It's gotten through its initial. It's a teenager in the
pristine condition.
Pristine. It's
also
got
with a pool.
You've got all these pool listings. This is awesome.
3-car garage. That's a good highlight on that one.
Yeah, or is it 2 cars and a golf cart? I can't tell.
3 cars.
3 cars. So it's an actual 3-car garage, not 2 cars and a golf cart, like I said last week, but it's 3-car garage. Another low-profile home. This one's got big, sprawling space, beautiful front yard. This is the type of yard you want to put a family with a dog in.
It's got that really popular floor plan where you have the primary owner's bedroom on one side, the other bedroom split on the other side of the house.
Because if
Open
you're
concept.
a true mortgage holder, you want your children as far away from you as possible.
Yeah, It's a very popular floor plan for many, many reasons. And it's got that true 3-way split floor plan, which is good for a multi-gen housing.
Yes, when you want to be far away from your children and your parents.
Spend some time on this one, too. It's a really good one.
We got 527 Zanesville Street South, South Pasadena, 33707. This is a 1954 mid-century home. It's very charming, very cozy.
Talking about in-law suites, this one has one.
This one has an in-law suite.
It has a permitted, really, really nice, finished off in-law suite. Perfect for multi-generational housing. This is really hard to find. And this is priced at $475,000. We just had a contract fall through on this. The buyer couldn't get qualified.
Yeah, I was going to say, I saw this one for a while and then I didn't.
The buyer couldn't get qualified. It's back on. So
okay.
813-377-2775. If you're looking for a multi-gen housing, don't skip Zanesville. Love where you live or we're going to fix it. Welcome home.
Make sure you smash like and subscribe.
Mommy will fix it.